أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
طيب. Inshallah, if there are any questions from the brothers here, we'll try to take them down. And if not, we'll see what we have online before we offer the salah. Go ahead, Akhi Yunus. Tfaddal, hayakallah.
Question is, so if the Imam come back to salah, right? And I come and I make the first salah, so I'm praying, let's say I say Zuhur and Asr, and I make the whole of Zuhur, and I come and I'm praying Zuhur, but I pray Asr. Can I come back after them, or I gotta wait till the time for Asr?
Understood. Question is regarding the Imam combining salah for one reason or another. I come in on Asr after they've made Dhuhr, but my intentions are Dhuhr. They're praying Asr. Am I allowed to pray Asr afterwards, etc.? Right. In brief, it depends on the reason behind them combining the salah. Why did they combine the prayer? Rain, cold, wind, mud, extreme heat, etc. If that applies to you with regards to going home, coming back to the masjid to the same hardship, then there you go. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Of course, the issue is based off of praying behind the imam with different intentions. You didn't ask about that, but that's a different issue. المسألة يعني تنبني على تلك اختلاف نية المأموم عن نية إيش الإمام. But in brief, if the same reason is there for you, هذا هو. والله أعلم. Any other questions? طيب. First question is coming from Ontario, Canada. Initials AW. Is it obligatory to follow a madhab? If a layman doesn't follow one madhab only, won't they be doing fatwa shopping because they could choose rulings based on their own desires? No, it is not obligatory for a Muslim to follow a madhab. Question, or that's the first part of the question. As far as if a layman Muslim doesn't follow a madhab, then they can do fatwa shopping based off of their own desires. Even if you've studied and if you follow a madhab, you can fatwa shop. And that is because one of the greatest lies that have been spread is that a madhab is pure simplicity and it's a perfect world, a perfect utopia. Everything's easy, everything's laid out, there's no problem, there's no discrepancies, and that's a lie. Anyone who's ever studied any of the four traditional madhabs, he knows that within that madhab, there are several levels. And there are differences between the imam and his disciples and his followers and his ashab, qawlun, wajhun, riwayatun. And there are different kutub about that madhab. There are summarized books, intermediate books, and there are extensive scholastic books in which there are 3-4 views of those ulama regarding an issue within one madhab. Let alone when they differ. Some say Abu Hanifa said it, some say he never said it. Imam Shafi'i, they said he said it, then he took it back. وَفِي الْجَدِيدِ وَفِي الْقَدِيمِ. So many people, they try to push their product. and they lie to the layman people, and they try to explain to the layman people that everything is so simple and so easy. Fiqh is expansive. It's deep. It's a lifetime study with or without a madhab. And these are based off of intentions. You can follow your desires by reading the hadith. You can follow your desires by reading a madhab and studying a madhab. Fear of Allah regarding what decisions you pick, what you believe and feel is the most correct and closest thing to Quran and Sunnah, that's applicable. All right? So that's totally false. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Next question is coming from Stockholm, Sweden. Initials, Jazakallah khairan. AS from London, UK. Salam, Mufti. Any advice for overthinkers who keep dwelling on the wrongs people have done to them? Yes. Go back to the class that we've done on the reasons behind leading a happy life. Al-Asbab al-Mufida lil-Hayat al-Sa'ida of Sheikh Ibn Sa'di. We explained the cure for that. AB from Doha, Qatar. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, great distances will be traversed in short spans of time. Is this hadith authentic? If yes, then source. I'm unfamiliar with that hadith. AW from Ontario, Canada. Where I live, the government offers free health insurance program which is funded through income tax. Is it permissible to apply for this type of insurance? If there's a need, if you can't afford insurance that you pay for, medical costs are expensive, and you need to preserve your health and maintain your health, then sign up for it. Wallahu alam. MD from Atlanta, Georgia. If I'm praying the Sunnah prayer for Maghrib and someone joins me thinking that I'm praying the Fard prayer, should I begin to recite aloud or should I just keep praying silently? Depends on you. If you want to give your brother al-muhim, you keep reciting how you would normally recite. Whether the brother continues to follow you, salams out, whether he figures it out, what's important is you keep making your sunnah prayers. When you salam out, he finishes what he has to finish. And Allah surely knows best. Question is coming from Niagara Falls, initials AK. Can we have a pumpkin carving fundraiser for MSA event in October? I wouldn't advise with that. I would avoid that, and Allah knows best. AS from London, UK. To what extent can you interact with a woman if you're looking to see if she can be a suitable spouse, and what is the recommended way to approach it? First and foremost, you can't be alone with her without a third party. Secondly, even when you have a third party, there are rules and guidelines, do's and don'ts. Talking on the phone, there are guidelines and there are do's and don'ts. What's important is these are based off of intentions. I'm looking to get married. I'm asking these necessary questions. I'm trying to forge this understanding, this relationship to move forward. Wallahu alam. SH from DC. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Did you ever find out when the rug carpet was introduced? Shams. Hayakallah Shams. AM from Manchester, UK. Animals of the sea are halal, but what about amphibians and creatures that have land and sea species? Turtles, tortoises, land snails, and sea snails. Is it the water? Scholars of Islam, they differ on these things. And the correct view, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is that you look at the predominant habitat of that animal. If it's in the water 75% of the time, and on land 25% of the time, then you give it the ruling of a sea creature. If it's on land 70% of the time, or 75% of the time, and it only goes in the water from now and then you give it the ruling of a land animal, meaning it has to be slaughtered. وهكذا. Wallahu alam. Next question is coming from London, UK. Initials AS. A brother had a dream and he thinks he saw the Prophet ﷺ smiling at him. He said the only thing is that he only had a few strands of hair on his chin rather than a proper beard. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever sees me in a dream, فَقَدْ رَآنِي حَقًّا, then he has truly seen me. فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَا يَتَمَثَّلُ فِي صُورَتِي أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Seeing the Prophet in a dream is true because the shaitan doesn't shapeshift in the form of the Prophet ﷺ. But the scholars of Islam, they say, seeing the Prophet على هيئته وصورته المعروفة, in his well-known appearance. And it's an established fact that the Prophet ﷺ had a very large, thick beard. A very large beard. The Prophet ﷺ did not have a few strands of hair upon his chin. So the person thought that he saw the Prophet in his dream, but in actuality, it was a false impression. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next question is coming from AB from Doha, Qatar. Someone I know told me that Kitab al-Tawheed by Sheikh Muhammad ibn al-Wahhab is filled with weak hadith. How true is that? He also accused Ibn Abdul Wahhab of wanting to kill Ibn Taymiyyah if they existed in the same time. What do you say regarding this? Ala kulli hal, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, like other scholars, they used hadiths and they mentioned hadiths of different types. Some hadiths in Kitab al-Tawheed, without any doubt, are authentic, sound, agreed upon. And there are other hadiths which are fair. And there are other hadiths which are disputed. Some scholars say Hasan, some say Da'if. Some say Sahih, some say Da'if. And there are other hadiths, they are mentioned in Kitab al-Tawheed and other places, which the scholars of hadith may say is weak, period. So Ibn Abdul Wahhab is not the first nor the last scholar of Islam to use a diverse selection of hadiths. That's first and foremost. He's not the first nor the last. And there are different reasons behind scholars mentioning the hadiths of diverse levels. All right? There's an explanation with regards to that. As far as him wanting to kill Ibn Taymiyyah, I don't know anything about that, nor does that change or have any benefit for us. Wallahu alam. AB from Doha, Qatar. The question asks that in his area is there an Islamic preaching group. It seems like they're not upon the way of the Salaf. They call towards the unity with Ahlul Bidah and advise us to take the good and leave the bad. They encourage rebelling against the ruler. They invited him to the group, asks for donations. Should he associate himself with that? Associate yourself with the people that you feel comfortable with. The people that you trust and the people that you respect and the people that you think and feel are getting you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Period. Question is coming from Coney Island. Initials RB. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Is it permissible to allow a child that is autistic to play the drums if a therapist recommends it? If you feel that playing drums are haram, do not allow your child to play the drums. UA from Sweden, or Stockholm, Sweden. Mufti, is it allowed to have a moon picture on the wall in the house? Because the moon is a living thing like a human painting, it is allowed or not? The moon is not necessarily a possessor of a soul like an animal or like a human being. IR from Sydney, Australia. Salam Sheikh, what have the ulama of Islam said about wearing a football jersey with the name of a non-Muslim? Some scholars say that it's a show of love and affection to non-Muslims, which infringes upon the aqeedah of al-wala wal-bara. MS from the Bronx. Salam alaikum Mufti. What is the ruling on drawing human figures for animated series that seeks to give dawah to children, human beings, and non-Muslims? If you're actually illustrating and drawing and making the cartoons yourself by hand, then that's a problem. Also, with technology, it's going to be a problem. As far as pictures, videos, that's a different ruling, a different discussion. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khair inshallah, we run out of time. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Where's Sheikh Usman at tonight? He's not here? Khairan. All right, guys. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.
جزاك الله بارك الله فيك. شو تواصل بعد العشاء؟